Welcome back to SL. Chennai Speaks Out. Is the media sensitive or sensational? You saw how combative that last answer got. Now time for our third round. It's called Crossfire. Over to you. Free for all.
I'll just take up from...
No, Jayshree has been talking about what we have been trying to talk about.
I'll just take over from where you left off. You talk about Rathod, IPS officer Rathod. Okay, with crime, like I said.
How many IPS officers in this country have gone to jail?
It might have deserved more. It's a legal process. Why should the media try him?
That is only because he was in the media focus. Is this fellow back on trial?
I'm sorry.
No, see,
for 30 years, what was everybody else doing?
For 30 years, what was the media doing for 30 years?
You can't declare him guilty and hang him.
No, the media is focusing attention on an issue, Arun.
RK,
no, it was not focusing
what
attention.
What was the media doing for 30 years?
You were giving a judgment.
What?
You were giving a judgment.
Yeah.
No, for 30 years, the executive of this country, the judiciary of this country failed. And when I take up an issue, suddenly people have all kinds of things. Hey, sensational hai, hey, wo hai, hey. What were you guys doing for 30 years?
What was the media
doing
for 30 years?
Come on, what was the police was doing?
What was the media doing for 30 years?
Name one IPS officer. No, we have been. Media has been writing about the case.
Not for 30
but the
years.
Case never comes up.
Not for 30 years.
These cases don't come up at all, right? He was a DGP of a state. We know the power a DGP wields in the state. Not just this state, every single state.
You tuck your tail and keep quiet.
Excuse me?
You tuck your tail and keep quiet if it's a DGP. Then
that's
where is your responsibility?
The executive
where are you being responsible? Where are you being sensitive?
Nobody, not a single MLA of this country raised that issue. Not an MP raises that issue in parliament. Till such time the media came out and said, this is the fellow who is guilty. Now, it may not be the job of the media to do that. But then because the media did that, people in power are now much more circumspect when it comes to looking at a woman. And all these people across the country, DGPs and all senior IPS officers are now circumspect when it comes to human rights violations. And that's thanks to the media.
How many cases of, Rathod's kind of cases were reopened suo motu by the courts, by the administration, by the government, without the media intervening?
I would just like to ask, how many cases are still pending in the courts that the media hasn't picked up? I'm sorry to say, while I completely appreciate your sentiment that the media has had a role in reopening the case, I also feel that this has happened only in the era of TRPs, not for the 30 years prior to that. And it should have happened. If the media was really genuinely sensitive, they would have opened it 10 years ago, not 10 years later when the TRPs mattered. And then when you could say, oh, I'm campaigning. Campaigning is not about style. Campaigning is about fact. Campaigning is about getting that information across to your audiences. And I think that is sensitive.
You fight cases that are possible to be fought. And we take one such case. You take Arushi's case. You take Rathod's case. The point is that we need to provoke an audience. All of you here.
I'm sorry about Arushi's case.
The point is that we are all, we call this PLUs, people like us. When somebody of your stature, when somebody who is well studied, who is from a middle class background and has a car and all that, when they get raped, it becomes an issue in this country. And that is where the media tries to strike a chord. Yes, we play because only then people like you will stand up in society, hold a placard outside a court, hold a placard outside a jail and say this fellow has to hang. That's where the media starts up taking those issues. We did take up Kandamal, we did take up a whole lot of issues where communal strife was there. We took up Orissa, we took up Kalahandi. How will Kalahandi will anyone ever know the amount of deaths that happened in Kalahandi if Sainath and the others did not write about it? And then are we expect the administration and the executive and the judiciary to sit back and say, okay, let us send 100 bags of rice to Kalahandi, people will be fine? Is that what we want? People can't eat rice there because they can't cook, because there is no fuel, there is no firewood. You had to set up every single thing there. Only then the administration woke up. When somebody like Sainath wrote about it, when the judiciary of this country woke up because Sainath wrote about it. The executive woke up because we wrote about it, not otherwise.
This is a rare example
Sainath is
of Sainath has been a lone crusader. He has been the lone crusader with the rest of the media forgetting about it.
It's the same Sainath who also did an exclusive expose on paid news in the media.
And what happened?
Really?
No, see, you don't talk, let's not talk about the lone crusaders. We are talking about the media in general. You talk about Kalahandi, what has happened subsequent to Kalahandi in Vidarbha region is 9-10 times worse. Even today, there are farmer suicide in that region. Why is no one talking about it?
We are talking about it. Who said we are
I
not
don't
talking
see
about
it. I don't see it. I read more than 10 newspapers. I don't see any of them.
But
Where
just
is
to add
it?
to it, we are talking about the norm, not about the exception.
See, we are
and
not,
I think
let's
the norm.
forget about the
Farmer
exceptions.
suicide are not exceptions.
No,
in
I'm
this
sorry.
country.
I'm,
There
China
are
is the
writing,
exception.
writing.
China is the exception.
ND
Please.
and all responsible TV channels, with the possible exception of one, have done all kinds of things, half an hour, 1 hour slots on the kind of problems that farmers in the Vidarbha region face, farmers in Andhra Pradesh face, and why the suicides are happening. But unfortunately, again, every single month we are being forced to do this, because when we write something, when we film something, then there is a response to that particular problem, to that particular area. After that, it completely subsides. And then we are forced to write about it again, so the media, and then the government sits up. Now the Supreme Court has asked why the rotting food grains can't be given to the people, and why, where did that come from? It did not come from the Supreme Court judges did not go to FCI godowns to check if the rice was rotting. We did it.
The media is supposed to do all these things. Let's not make any excuses, or let's not think that we are great if you are doing this. This is what the media is supposed to do. You're there to provide information. You're there to provide information on corruption. You're there to provide information on the illegal activities. You're also there to report, and you're not there to sensationalize. And that's what we are discussing. If the media has exposed a lot of things, great. That's your job. But do it. Don't sensationalize it, and don't think you're doing people a favor, because you're not.
We carry the issue of the nuclear pact with the US on page 1. We say there is a problem when and is substituted by or. We carry the fact that Ranil Wickremesinghe wants Indian political engagement in the island on page 1, and that's boring. And what's appealing to you guys is what is the color of the dress that Priyanka was wearing the other day? That is what engages you. You demand surprise, you demand pace, you demand playfulness, you demand provocation. And when newspapers and the media are able to do that, you guys sit up and take notice. So if this and or went to the inside pages and we give a teaser somewhere talking about Hillary Clinton's dress, then I think every single citizen of this country would have read my paper and would have been up in arms against the nuclear protocol. Basically, it's about presentation. And sometimes we do not err when we present. We want you to read. We want to provoke you. And that's where we get labeled as sensationalists. Unfortunately, that is the only way to reach you guys. Otherwise, I'm very sure the paper that comes at 7 o'clock in the morning will go to the Radhi at 7 o'clock in the evening. You guys will not read it. We want to make you read. We want to make you react. And that's the only reason where we use color, what we call color. And to use color, we can't use drab sentences. We kind of move away from the normal practice as to what, when, how, and all those 5 questions, 5 W's and 1 H, and give a little bit, we tweak it. We give graphics so that you guys understand what the verdict on Ayodhya was. And I'm not talking down to people. I'm only talking to a generation which just does not have the time to read. Because you have so many things, so many gadgets, so many things from iPods to your nanos to whatever to take care of. The point is, we are trying to reach you somehow so that you react. And that is the only reason why we have to pep up things.
We have to reach you somehow. That somehow is what we are questioning. That is what we are questioning here. We are not questioning your right to reach the people. No, we are not questioning you that. We are not questioning your presentation. You have your graphics, you simplify your language, you make the language attractive to them. Yeah, we don't mind that. We are objecting to the media sensationalizing. Let's get one thing correct.
I just need to make one point about, I think we are over sensationalizing the sensational accusation. I'll just point out one small incident that recently happened to a reporter from Deccan Chronicle. We're talking about the FCI godowns. A young reporter went to a local FCI godown just on the northern outskirts of Chennai. Somebody told her that there were worms, maggots and whatever, and then it stinks. And the entire region, about 5 kilometers around that, people don't even open their windows because, you have these insects into their houses, into their kitchens. Then when she went and tried to contact she took pictures, spoke to the people, and she went to the FCI, the boss here. Oh, you are all the time sensationalizing. But we ran the story, and after that there was a kind of a cleanup done for a couple of days. Like supplementing what RK said, unless we keep on banging these guys, sensational or not, whatever, at least that area has got a bit cleaner.
Jessica Lal case, come on, Jessica Lal, when it's a socialite, all of you wake up. But what about the double murder in West Mambalam? You forget it till 3 years after the incident. Someone gets arrested, reported for a few sentences, forgotten till the case comes up in the court and either gets dismissed or a sentence is passed. If it is a BPO girl who gets raped by the taxi driver, okay, it's all over, page 1. And if it's another, say if some other girl gets raped somewhere else, it goes off inside.
Jessica Lal is important because her killers would have gotten away. A Mambalam murder is not as important because its killers are ordinary people, they will never get away.
Come on, this is
an ordinary thief. A Mambalam guy, the guys who murdered in Mambalam were ordinary criminals. The guys who murdered Jessica Lal were not ordinary people. They were rich people, they were elite. If you don't go after them, we will never get them.
Nobody has been able to still dislodge the Hindu as #1 here. Whatever you say. So, it doesn't mean that you have to sensationalize. It doesn't mean, it just goes to prove a point that you don't have to sensationalize for people to accept you. You're still being accepted in your development avatar.
Everybody watched Rajini's daughter's wedding in the city, and that's because it was shown live on Ndtv Hindu. You guys wanted to see? We'll show it to you. You tell us we are not interested in this thing, the TRPs go down, they'll be fine.
Was it a sensitive piece of coverage?
Absolutely. Why waste 12
Was
hours?
it a sensitive?
Completely sensitive.
It all boils down to what viewers want. If there is that level of interest, at one level there is public interest, the other, if there is a level of interest, if people want to, if Rajnikant commands a sort of fan following, and people who want to see his second daughter's wedding, because the first one was really not open to the public, if they want to see it, if his fans, if his millions of fans who were asked to keep away, want to wish the couple, and if they have a medium, so be it. Why grudge that?
Absolutely. I'm just saying that he's on the side of media being sensitive. So I'm saying, does coverage of a marriage
no, in jest he just gave an example.
Fall into your category of sensitive media, throwing truth to the audience, all that, everything? Yeah, does it fall into that
my
category?
Driver refused to come to work today because he said he wanted to go for Rajini's daughter's wedding. I told him go watch Ndtv Hindu. He was so happy. He was sitting home watching for 12 hours Ndtv Hindu. People want to watch it. Okay, there is no way to get around this. Rajini is a huge thing in India. And Tamils, of course, he is somewhere much beyond huge. So everything that happens in Rajini's family is of great interest to this Indian nation and especially Tamils all over the world. So everybody wants to watch it. The amount of comments that Ndtv Hindu got is amazing. The amount of interest in a family like that is interesting.
With regard to sports coverage, if let's say someone gets a hat-trick or someone gets 500 wickets, does it get the kind of attention that a Zahir Khan, Ricky Ponting squabble in the middle of the wicket gets, which is there plastered on the front page of every newspaper, every television channel?
Yeah, because
is it because the audience wants fluff?
I think both get equal coverage and both get equal attention from the viewers and readers.
Or a Ramdev's no ball to Sehwag.
A gentleman's game, something odd like this, awkward happens, it's big news. Certainly, it should get covered. It's not sensationalizing. It's recording an event that should not have happened. I mean, this is a gentleman's game.
All right, another question. Do you think that the coverage of air crashes or the coverage of rail accidents is as much as the coverage of air crashes? Because Arun was talking about the elitist slant of the media.
Yes, the coverage of train accidents, particularly in Indian Railways, when you have the railway minister, I apologize to if there is anybody who is a Mamta fan here. The accusation is that
yeah, there must be only Amma fans, no Didi fans.
Yeah, the accusation is that files go from Delhi to Calcutta for her to to take decisions, and the accusation, which is real, we see almost every other day. Railway accidents are happening every day, almost every day.
So it's no longer news.
It's no longer. I'm not saying it's no longer news. I'm not saying it's no longer new. But then, when an air crash happens, certainly, it's big news. It doesn't mean that train accidents are no news.
So the point is that a lot more things can go wrong when a train travels from point A to point B than an aircraft, because aircraft is much more automated and much more controlled according to the computers than a train is.
And that is a problem, because it goes into autopilot mode and then people go off to the washroom.
Sleep.
All right, time now to slide into another short break. A last break on SL Chennai Speaks Out. When we come back, the audience have been very, very active with their applause. It's their turn. It's called Public Punch. Stay tuned.